Archie Delight, it's a Christmas miracle. Spurs win away. Welcome to Project Spurs.
Oh, the streets are cold and grey, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, I wanna be there in that number. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in.
Hello, welcome back to Project Spurs. I said at the top of the show, it is a Christmas miracle. Callum is on time. Tottenham win away, 3 points before the end of the year. Blimey, lads, we've won. It wasn't pretty, as we said, as we all jumped in here as soon as the game finished and was like, oh my God, we've got to get on. We've got to talk about our win. But it is a Christmas miracle. Archie Gray with his first senior goal. Look how happy he looks. That was me in my living room all of, an hour ago maybe, cheering on Archie Gray. Not the best of performances, but a win is a win. Lads, welcome back to Project Spurs. Callum, how are you feeling after a 3 points London derby win and an away from home?
Seems to be that we can at least win away from home, mate. So, I mean, I'll take it any day of the week. Let's put it that way. It hasn't been good, but we're ending December. We're ending 2025 with an actual win. 3 points. I think that takes up to 11th with 3 points off top 6 at the moment. So it's not pretty, not glamorous, but these are the nasty, dirty points that you need to take, ain't it, mate?
Absolutely. Josh, welcome back and thanks for joining us again. As Callum says, you know, we've gone up the table a little bit there. We're now, if we win on the 4th of January at home to Sunderland, we'll go joint with them in 7th. So not all doom and gloom at the moment.
Yeah, it's difficult to be positive though when you see performances. Performances don't really match what we're seeing in the table. The fact that we're so close to being in the top 6, you go, oh, that's all right. Then you actually sit down and watch Tottenham for 90 minutes and you're going to go, yeah, that's not right, is it? It was another tough one. I mean, I think we got quite lucky with Palace being so blunt and lacking any cutting edge today, but I'll take the win. I'm still not confident, but it's nice to win to end the year for once.
Phil, a win's a win or still concerned slightly with the performance?
A win's a win right now, I think. You know, we need success stories, even mini ones. And a win's a win. A win's a success story. And a win away, someone like Palace is a success story. I saw Palace have only lost to both Manchester clubs this season so far, and they beat Liverpool at home. Right, you know, going to Selhurst Park at the best of times is a difficult place to go. I know they're missing a couple of players, but you know we're still missing, 80 goals and assists from last season. If I'm being honest, so the fact that we kept a clean sheet, Vicario from memory, I might be wrong. I can't really remember now, but like Vicario didn't. I don't think he had to make a. He didn't have to make a save, actually, really in the game, right? So despite Palace, getting a lot of possession and, kind of having the ball in a couple of dangerous positions, they didn't make Vicario have to make a save, and in the end, we could have scored 4 or 5. So look, a win's a win, right? And, I think there's still concerns around, obviously, how we play with the ball in possession, how we move the ball forwards through midfield, players running into space, passing it, all that kind of stuff. There's still some, things that need improving. But as it is, I think that win puts us ahead of where we were last season now on the same amount of games, right? So we've got more points compared to last season with, at this stage last season, a lot more injuries still overall. It was later on when the injury started. So, I'm going to grasp at any positive straw that I've got right now. And I think we need to take this on into the next couple of games, which again on paper are winnable, but as we know, it's not as easy as that. But we can win the next couple of games, and then we're 4 points off Champions League right now. That's the reality.
Absolutely. See, so 1 point off. Sorry, let's start that again. Prior to today's kickoff, Spurs were just 1 point lesser off than where they were last season. But there's been a huge amount of cries online. If you go on Twitter, there'll be, you can't get away from it. Huge amount of cries for Thomas Frank to be sacked. But we are only 1 point worse off before kickoff than we were last year. So where do you kind of sit with those type of things at the moment?
Well, first and foremost, hello to everyone. Hope you all had a good Christmas. I'm Thomas Franking still at the moment. I think it's too early to be calling for his head and getting rid of him. I think that was a typical Thomas Frank performance, ground out a 1-0 win. Sort of more the Brentford mentality that he had, in my eyes, he has, about just trying to cancel out the opposition. It's not a game that's going to live long in the memory, that's for sure. But I'm with Phil on this. 3 points are what matters at the moment. Hopefully, if we can go on a bit of a run now with the upcoming games we've got, who knows, that negativity could soon turn into positivity with the closer we get to 6th or 4th, if we can win these games, which, as I know, on paper we can, but that's never the reality once you get onto the pitch, is it? So.
No, absolutely. Callum, just looking at the stats for today's game, just put them on the screen quickly. 62% to 38 in possession for Crystal Palace. Quite clearly their second half, they were pretty much all over us for a large point of that. 15 shots with only 2 on target. Like Phil said, not a huge amount for Vicario to do, but for us, 7 shots, 3 on target, and we scored 3 goals in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Palace, realistically, if they were better and weren't as wasteful, probably should have wiped the floor with us. But like you say, we theoretically had 3 balls in the net, 1 counted. We then had Odebear hit the post during that, some very close shots around that as well. And if Richarlison can actually stay on side, then realistically, it would be a lot more comfortable. But because we know he can't time his run, it's why we're all crying out for Dom Solanke to be back as soon as he possibly can to alleviate this. But yeah, the stats don't look great, but realistically, the last 20 minutes or so, I would say that we were the better team, ultimately. Yes, we weren't great throughout the game, but Palace just ran out of ideas by the end of it, and it shows that we can do some stuff. It wasn't a pretty win, it wasn't a nice win, but these are the points that will get you up the table compared to a draw here or a draw there. So no, stats not good, but getting there, I think, is the best way of putting it.
Absolutely. Josh, just coming to you, stats don't look great, but Palace really poor in front of goal. Did we kind of get lucky in large spells of that, or is it sometimes you just got to ride that luck to 3 points? Is what ultimately we did.
I think so, yeah. I think, Palace were poor in front of goal, much like we were, really, outside of the offside chances. It was a game there, not much was really created. It was 2 fairly poor teams that largely cancel each other out. I think if you look at Glasner and Frank as managers, they can often be quite similar in their play style, the way they set their teams up. Formation's slightly different, but they can be very much sort of defensively solid, look to hit in the counter. The only thing really Palace did that we didn't do was sort of press. We were kind of more sort of happy to sit back and then counter, and Palace sort of, couldn't create in our end. And on Odebear, I think Odebear has looked good every time he's played this season. I struggle to understand why he's not getting in the side above Richarlison or Muani out on the left. I think he's looked bright again. Just the ability to have a man out on the left who can beat someone and create for himself or others made us look a lot more balanced, and kind of the best we looked really was towards the end of the game, and it was the most entertaining we looked all game as well.
Yeah, I agree with you actually on the Odobert situation. I thought he had a really good cameo when he came on. Phil, you still with us there? Potentially might have lost Phil. Go to you then, Si. We struggled to sort of control the game in large elements. Really, where did you put that down to? Is that more central midfield domination from Palace, or just I kind of guess that the continuation of what we've seen for most of the last 2 or 3 months, really?
Yeah, I think my personal view of the whole game, I think Palace didn't have many shots on target, but they had some decent chances. If they'd have been able to have a bit more composure, a bit more, I think they could have beaten us. But yeah, I thought they were swarming us, over swarming us in the midfield to a little bit. I thought Wharton looked really good, very calm and reassured for his age. But we ground out. To me, we ground out the 1-0. The last 10 minutes, I was just expecting us to lose a goal, to be honest. But in the end, it was a good defensive performance. I thought Kevin Danso performed really well against Mateta, to be honest. So, yeah, it's good sign, something to build on in the end, Gareth.
Yeah, absolutely. Something to build on for you as well, Josh? Josh, you still with me? May have lost Josh as well. Callum, are you back with us now?
Yeah, I am, mate. I was always still here. I just was having a break.
Oh, okay. Having a break after a whole of 11 minutes of the podcast. Fantastic.
2 hours of Spurs football, mate. That's what it does to you.
Something to build on side of things is that. Do you agree there?
Si, you're on mute, mate.
No, talking to you, Callum. Something to build on, like Si said. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree. It's a stepping stone. Let's put it that way. We need something to enjoy and go on from. Obviously, we've got 2 decent fixtures in Brentford and Sunderland next as well. So I think these resilient performances are where you sort of want to use the setup to go for. I don't think it was good. I don't think it was as bad as people say. I mean, I've seen a lot of people calling for Frank's head, but it's like the guys have said, these are the wins that you sort of take in comparison to where Palace have won in the past, and they've been praised for it. And yet, if a top team like Spurs do it, we get said, "Oh, we're playing turgid, crappy football." Well, with all due respect, all 5 of us have probably got over 200 years worth of supporting Spurs between us. We've seen good performances, we've seen crap performances. This wasn't one of the good ones, but these are points that we'd probably lose in the past, wouldn't it? I mean, we've done it against Bournemouth, we've done it against Fulham. I'm just happy we've actually won this one to get us closer to where we should be.
Absolutely.
One of those games, Callum, that if someone asked you to recall it in a year's time, you probably couldn't. But at the end, the 3 points, we'll take them, go back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and be happy with it.
I mean, it's exactly like the Europa League win, really, isn't it? If you want to talk to me about that, it's probably the worst game of football I've seen. But I don't really care because we've got a trophy, and it was one of the best nights of all our lives. So ultimately, didn't matter. Yes, the progression needs to be there, but ultimately, as you say, the results is what matters. That Christmas miracle did come in the end. Phil, you're back with us. I did hear your audio kick back in. Just going into the first half, I thought Mateta looked really dangerous in large spells of that. We struggled with him for a little bit, but he's, if he could have found that back of the net, things could have been different.
Yeah, it looked from early on in the game. It looked like he had the better of Danzo. He span him a couple of times. Danzo kind of he fouled him, didn't he, as well? Kind of like slid through him a couple of times, and yeah, I was worried that he was gonna bully us, and obviously, get the 1-0. It looked like we improved a bit with him. Then after that, and I mean, I don't know if he tired then as well. I think some of the Palace players also, they got frustrated as well because they did get into some good positions which they didn't make the most of, but they probably got a bit frustrated as well because we just managed to kind of hold on, right, and kind of keep the clean sheet, right, without conceding. And as I said before, Vicario didn't have really to make a difficult save anywhere. So seemed that he then, Mateta kind of just dropped off a bit after that. But the beginning of the game, I was kind of saying, oh, if only goes again that, if you've got that Mateta or Solanke kind of player in there, as opposed to Richarlison, who I don't really want to get on his back too much because, he scored twice today, didn't he, really? Still, that's what I was feeling at the time. If only we had that kind of striker up front, then, we'd probably be automatically a better team. But we dealt well with him in the end, to be fair. And, look, at the beginning of the game, the first half, they looked a bit shaky, but Danzo got better as the game went on. And I thought Van der Ven did as well, because he had a few shaky moments, in the first half of the game where he gave the ball away cheaply. He kind of was out of position a couple of times, but he improved as well. So, respect to them, respect to the guys for, for somehow not, losing control completely at the back. And at the end, we got a clean sheet, right? So, fair play. And Palace didn't really look that. It's not like Palace were all over us in terms of creating chance after chance, even in that first half. So, I think we have to give the defenders and, probably even the midfielders in front of them a bit of respect, really, in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Josh, just coming to you, I thought it might be a bit of a case of Wharton versus Gray in that middle. And I thought Mateta would be a real danger for Palace. Do you think the fact that this is their 30th game of the season, they're just running out of steam, and they need recruitment probably as bad as we do, and it kind of showed towards the end, I think.
Yeah, I think with them, it was a big thing for Glasser in the summer. It was kind of early doors. He was upset with how the lack of recruitment, the fact they needed to sell Gahey at the deadline window was closing. I think, as a kind of after the hour mark, they really just sort of ran out of steam. Walton was keeping things ticking over and trying to create, but they made substitutions. They brought in Ketcher on, who had a few kind of moments, but it was always kind of flutters here and there. There was never really anything genuinely threatening. I think it was just because it was the lack of energy and just a distinct lack of quality, which is beneficial for us because it meant that we could just start to kind of sit deeper and just wear them down and really largely just wait for the mistake. I think once they took the Yeri Pina off, I think that's when I loved them that they did that. I think he was probably their best avenue to create something. Once I took him off, it was largely smooth sailing.
Yeah, I agree with you. So just coming to you, Kola Mawani is someone that I've really heavily praised on since I started really doing any content creating. Obviously, pretty new to this, as I say, and in terms of these channels, I think Kola Mawani is someone that's got a lot of potential for us if we can get it right. But I thought today was one of his poor games. I thought he was really poor on the ball. I think it just highlights again that when Odeberg came on, he completely changed that sort of balance on that left, and it clear to me that Kola Mawani is not a left-sided forward striker, however you want to determine it. How did you see Kolo's performance today?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, Gary. I'm a big fan of his as well. When he plays in that centre striking position, I think he looks really, really good. But yeah, he's not a left winger. Regularly gave the ball away, sloppy passes. I think in the first half, he gave the ball away quite easily and it created a chance for Palace. And I was surprised that, I mean, it's not just been this game, it's been the last few games. Odebear hasn't started. And when he come off the bench today, I thought he looked really lively. Went on a little run that produced a foul and a yellow card for a Crystal Palace player. And obviously hit the post as well. I thought it was a great cameo by him. And, you know, going forward, I just don't think you can play Mawani on the left. It doesn't suit him, in my opinion.
No, Callum, coming to you. Pretty sloppy first half on the ball from Tottenham. Obviously, we got the goal, but in terms of creativeness, control of the game, very, very sloppy. Kola Mawani was part of that. But some of the brighter sparks is kind of Richarlison and his running and that determination and fitness that he's all of a sudden come from him. He's not the answer long term, but he's given us something to grab onto, I guess, as a fan. But pretty sloppy first half, all in all. Do you think?
I think we forgot to do the basics right in that first half. That's my main issue with it. A lot of sloppy passing, overplaying the ball, going very wayward, and it kind of links into what you guys were saying about Mawani as well. Doesn't work on the left. Spence and Mawani don't work. They were running into each other's space. Yeah, Richarlison was active. He always seems to be very active and blustery and running all over the place, but it's still the end product for me, which could have been a lot better. And I think that if maybe you did have Richarlison on the left and Mawani up top, then it would give you a different aspect, because then at least Mawani can hold up the ball. Richarlison couldn't hold on to the ball if it was stuck to him with glue today. That was the problem. And there was a lot that kind of it amplified what was wrong with Spurs in that first half. So it wasn't a I don't think either team were great in that first half, but there was a lot of turnover in play, which was completely unnecessary, and a complete lack of control, unfortunately for us, which, yeah, we got the offside goal ruled out, but then when we did get Gray's goal, I don't honestly think we probably deserved it as much as a lot of people have said. I think that Palace had probably the better of the half, if we're being honest and quite fair to them.
Yeah, Josh, do you think that's a fair assessment? I think that is, that Palace were kind of on top. We've hit them on the run of play, but again, fair play. Richarlison with the vision to see where Gray is, and Archie Gray getting his first senior goal. I think we all speak for I speak for all of us. That it's great to see Archie with that goal.
Yeah. I think we, to begin with, for the first sort of half an hour or so of the game,
So is
kept
that
playing
to me?
into Palace's hands. We kept trying to play around that press, and we couldn't. We didn't have the players in defence without Romero. We haven't got the midfielders. We kept trying to play around the press and just giving it away in dangerous areas. Then once we kind of started to go a little bit more long and more direct and over their press, we started to have some more success. But yeah, I mean, Richarlison he's a bits and pieces player largely. He's a moments player, I feel like. He will do nothing of any use for 85 minutes. But he'll have a 5-minute spell where he scores a goal or flicks one on for someone else's goal like he did for Gray, and then he'll go back to just largely being useless. Again, he is a kind of symptomatic of Tottenham's issues. We have players who can do one thing very well, but can't do 2 or 3 other things well, and we end up sort of putting round peg and square holes up Mawani on the wing and sort of hoping for the best.
No, I agree. Phil, just coming to you on that as well. Great to see Archie Gray get a goal today. Where did you see his performance overall? We're having trouble with Phil quite a bit today. So we'll let you answer that one. How did you see Archie's overall performance today? So I thought, again, relatively quite good. Obviously got the booking, which, you take those. But I thought another good performance in the middle from him. And he looked like he was breaking the lines as well. He was getting into the box at times as well.
Yeah, I think he looked really good. and it's good to see him maturing quite a lot. He's looking very confident. The way he bounced back from obviously the goal that happened against Forest away, it's great to see. And he looked confident. Second half, once Bergvall had to come off, I think they were originally going to bring him off, but then Bergvall picked up that slight injury, and which meant Gray pushed forward a lot more, and he looked decent in that position as well. He did look good. I think I know a Leeds fan who last year when we first signed him was telling me he's unbelievable. He's a great player. You don't know what you've got, like so. And hopefully it's starting to come, and we're starting to see it as Tottenham fans. But seeing the joy on his face scoring that goal, his first goal in professional football, it was like a kid scoring a goal on a Sunday. You could see the enjoyment in his face, and also, which was good, the enjoyment of all the other players for him for scoring that goal. So yeah, I'm really happy with him in that position.
Phil, just before we let you go, so I know you're having some issues, so we'll get overall thoughts from you. I know we've spoken in text as well. Where are you with the whole Thomas Frank situation? I will ask the other guys this towards the end of the program, but obviously you're heading off. So where are you sitting right now with Thomas Frank and his tenure at Spurs? We're having some audio issues still with you, unfortunately, Phil. No. I'm gonna let you go. I feel it's great to always have you, mate. But today is not the day. Have a great new year. I know you can hear me, so have a great new year. And thanks for all what you're doing. Have a great meal with your wife, and all the best. And come on, you Spurs, good lad. We've got Travis has dropped in as well, which is great. Thanks, Travis. We'll ask you the question we were asking Phil. There's been a lot of talk online.
Can't actually hear anyone.
Oh my God! Can you hear anyone? Can you hear us now, Travis?
Who the hell have you hired tonight, Gary? Jesus
Gary,
Christ!
jump out and come back in. Sorry, mate. I can't hear anyone.
You had one job. You had one job to set this up. It was fine the last time I did it, and now look.
You've messed with all my settings. You've got to.
No,
mess
I haven't. No.
It has to be. I'm not sure why people are having so much problem audio-wise, but we'll carry on as we are. We'll try and get Travis back in. Hopefully, Travis can hear us now. Can you hear us, Travis?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah,
that's great.
Evening, gents.
Hi, Travis.
Great to have you on. Great to have you on, Travis. We're just finishing sort of an assessment on the first half, but give us your assessment, Travis, of that first half. Happy with it? Thought it was quite poor. Where are you sitting on that?
Yeah, I thought it was quite painful, to be fair. You know, I think we made really hard work of it. I thought the back four were quite exceptional, to be fair. Danso again, another great step in for obviously the suspended Romero. But yeah, really, really poor for me. I thought we got better in the second half. I thought the substitutions were absolutely spot on, obviously, given that we haven't got Xavi Simons at the moment. But yeah, I thought Danso was. I didn't even see who got man of the match, but I thought Danso was absolutely exceptional. I thought he played a really, really good game, and yeah, and obviously a great goal for Archie Gray as well. Obviously his first senior goal in 112 appearances, I think it was. So yeah, really happy for the lads. I think he's got a bright future at Spurs. Yeah, I thought he played really, really well and get some proper minutes under his belt. Whereas obviously he didn't. Obviously the underage, he didn't get so many minutes, but yeah, I think he's going to be a good talent for the seasons to come. So yeah, really happy with him and Danso.
So just to let everybody know, if you're not aware, Archie Gray was no man of the match, which I think, looking back, I think he deserved it. I thought he played very well. So you agreed with me on there. Callum, you're a big Archie Gray fan. Like I said at the top of the show, I thought it was potentially an Archie Gray versus Adam Wharton face-off. Did Archie get the upper hand there overall?
I reckon there's definitely some aspect to it where he at least got the goal to it. But I mean, if we're being very honest, and I know, like you say, Gary, I'm a big fan. I know you are too. That realistically, if we had our way, and if the stars aligned, we would have Archie Gray and Adam Walton playing in our midfield for us. So realistically, I don't. I wanted Walton to have a good game today because it showed what he does do and what he can do to many Spurs fans, I think, who do underappreciate him at certain levels. So, no, I was really happy with both of them today. And I think that Gray maybe just had a little bit of a better game because of the goal, but Walton was doing everything in that Palace midfield and he was really giving us a run around. So, very happy, very good, but over the moon for Archie, in all honesty, mate.
Yeah. So, just coming to you, I thought Kevin Danzo again was excellent. I think he's been excellent in probably 90% of the games he's played. Probably had one game where I thought he was struggling a little bit. But again, he comes in such a professional, doesn't seem to complain, happy to jump in when needed. They're the type of players we need at Tottenham that are putting in these sort of 7, 8 out of 10 performances. And I thought he had another one today. As we said, he dealt with Mateta pretty well. Mateta is a handful.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I like about Dan Sowies. He's just keeps his head to the ground, buckles on. He's happy to be third choice from what I hear and what I see. He knows he's not going to possibly start all the time above Romero and Van der Ven. But when he steps in for either one of them, it's as if they're still there, sort of thing. He constantly performs for us, and he loves a battle. And for me as well, we miss his long throw when he's not playing. I know Bergvall usually takes the long throws, but he hasn't got anything on what Danso's long throw is like. So yeah, he struggled. I think it was Callum said earlier. He struggled at first, maybe with Mateta, but I think as the game wore on, that you saw less and less of Mateta, and he had less of the ball, and Danso was winning a lot of the challenges. So yeah, I'm always happy for him to step straight in for Romero or Van der Ven, to be honest.
Travis, just going into half time, obviously 1-0 up. How did you see the goal from Archie Gray? Good finish. Thought Richarlison played relatively well. Unlucky with an offside as well there. How did you see that? How did you see his performance first half?
Archie Gray.
Yeah, and Richarlison, yeah.
Yeah, Archie Gray, I thought it was great all game. He was all over the pitch. I don't really put a bad foot wrong, really. Richarlison, he can't catch a break, can he? Let's be honest. Like, you got to feel so sorry for the guy. He's netted 2 goals that is very, very rare for Richarlison, and they've both been given offsides. So I do feel for him. He's got goals in him, Richarlison. And I just think he lacks confidence, Richarlison. He didn't get a lot of game time with Ange, and he's been injured. There's obviously been speculation with him moving abroad. He's not exactly Harry Kane, is he? But I'd love to keep hold of him. He's a goal scorer. We know he'll get goals, but it's just the luck just doesn't fall his way. And I just both time them goals went in, I just put my head in my hands. I just thought, like, this poor guy, he just can't catch a break at the moment. But yeah, I thought Archie Gray, as I said earlier, he was exceptional. And I think given the injury crisis that we've got and the retention in suspensions with Romero and Xavi, I thought we played second half. First half was really poor. To be fair, I nearly turned it off. It was that bad. But second half, I thought maybe the last 60 minutes we come alive a little bit. But Palace, it's not an easy place to go to. Let's be honest. Mateta is just an absolute beast in that striker position. I'd love to see that sort of player at Spurs. But yeah, I thought we parked the bus. I thought Frank's substitutions were absolutely spot on, given what he had to choose. I was wondering where Sarr is, but he's at the African Cup of Nations, isn't he?
He is, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a shame because Sarri is an absolute battery in that midfield. You know, he doesn't run out of breath. But yeah, hats off to Archie Gay. I thought he played a really mature performance today, and just really happy to see him get his first senior goal in, was it 112 appearances for Spurs? So yeah, really happy.
That's good. Callum, Oliver Glasner had this to say after the game. I think that was their 9th goal from a corner this season. We knew about it, but we didn't stop it and we didn't take our chances and they were clinical. Fair assessment?
I think that's fair, to be honest. He's been quite honest. He said that realistically they aren't or haven't done enough. He's pretty much said that they didn't do it right and they didn't defend it right. And then he's actually admitted that, yes, his team had chances, but they weren't clinical enough in there. So he's actually put his hands up and said that Palace's ability today to do pretty much anything was nullified and not good enough for his remarks and what he views from his team. So I think it's a very honest view from him. I don't think it takes anything away from Archie saying that it was a good goal or the good build-up play. It doesn't take away from the fact that we thought that we were probably quite poor in that game as well. But realistically, we came out on top from it. And at least he's humble in admitting that we did outdo what he and didn't anticipate with his squad.
Yeah, so he does go on to say, I think it's a performance. Both teams, I think you shouldn't lose the game. Created enough to score goals, but getting punished by a set piece of corner. You know that if you concede one, you're struggling to get back. We dominated the Tottenham side, but we were coming off with a defeat. Travis, Oliver Glasner speaks really well whenever he does any sort of press conferences with that before games, after games, slight difference to perhaps how Thomas Franks handled some of these recent press conferences. Where do you sit on sort of Oliver Glasner in the general census of things? Because he's been heavily linked with Tottenham as well.
Yeah, I think Glasner's a great manager, and I think, as you say, Gary, I think he speaks very well in his press conferences, and obviously before and after games, he's honest. You know, if they play bad, he's honest. You know, he's not a Mikel Arteta and he's biased in any sense. You know, so yeah, I think Glasner's done really well with Palace. Yeah, and I think his man management is good. I just think I mean, being linked with Tottenham, I don't really quite understand that, because obviously, if we really wanted him, we would have chosen him over Frank, you know. So I don't really know why we're being linked with Glasner so early on. I mean, Glasner is an attacking manager. You can see that in the Palace side, but I don't. It's really frustrating when we get a new manager and, you know, we've had a really poor start to the season, and then all of a sudden we're being linked with yet another manager. You know, I think I've said my thoughts quite a few times on previous podcasts, on Harry's podcast, and on the GC, etc. How I feel about management at Spurs. So for me, it's quite annoying in a way, because I don't think we should be linked with any manager as of yet. I think it's far too early in the season. I think Frank needs more than till the end of the season. He needs, we could go on to transfers and how many transfer windows that Frank needs, how much time Frank needs. You know, he's come into a squad that finished 17th in the league last year. Like, yeah, fair enough, we won the Europa League, but we won the Europa League because we got into the Europa League. Yeah, and I don't know. I think Frank's just got a lot to work with in the sense of the team. I think in personal ways as well, with how he approaches the ball. Obviously, given how bad the Tottenham ball is. I mean, I think what's his name, Prjctspurs, was at the game today, wasn't he? Obviously, he's been linked with Fiorentina. So, you know, who knows what's going on? There's always loads of speculation around Spurs, whether that's with players, whether that's with the balls. with management, whoever it may be, there's always some form of speculation, you know, and there's so much paper talk. There's a load of waffle on X, you know. So for me, as you know, as a Tottenham fan, I think we just need to stick with Frank, give him what he needs in the transfer window, who he needs, because that's another thing. We get managers, they know who they want. Like Ange wanted Brennan Johnson. We got Brennan Johnson for 40 million. The guy's barely played, and now he's being linked with Crystal Palace. You know, I wish him all the best if he goes to Palace. Is he still worth 40 million? In my books, absolutely not. It's probably worth half that. So I think if we are going to have a serious transfer window, then we need to get exactly who Frank needs and stick with the manager this time. Sorry for the rant, but I could go on till I'm blue in the face about that whole thing, because
What we need on the show, we need opinions, and we need valid opinions, and everybody here has a valid opinion. Whether I agree or not is a different thing. I do agree with you. I think Thomas Frank needs time, but Thomas Frank has come into the press conference. He's said, I like the desire and the character and the resilience of the team. You need to go to a very difficult away ground like this and show character. Was it a top performance? No. Was there stuff to improve? Yes. But I think we were extremely disciplined during the game. For example, one of Palace's strengths is transitions, and we dealt with that well. So coming to you, I think that's a really fair assessment, again, from Thomas Frank on the overall performance today.
Yeah, Gary. That's how I saw it, to be fair, as well. Wasn't a great performance. We possibly weren't the best team if you go by stats and everything. But at the end of the day, we fought. They fought for every ball, and you could see the determination in every single player on that pitch, I think, to try and sort out what's happened in the past couple of games against Forest, against Liverpool, etc., and get back to our winning ways away on the road like we had at the start of the season. So yeah, I mean, he's not the nail on the head. I think that's exactly as I think a lot of us would have seen the game, to be honest. But it's in the record books as 3 points. Like I said earlier, that's all we care about. We're not going to care if we had one shot, one on target, or, you know, we don't care that we're the most prolific team for the minimum chances created and the amount we score. It's points on the board that's most important. And so yeah, it's, like I said, something to build on. And I think we got Is it not Brentford? Who we got New Year's Day?
Yeah, Brentford. So that's going to be a tough
Brentford
game
away as well, isn't it? You know, we win that, and we only played them recently, didn't we? I know they had a good win the weekend, and then we've got Sunderland at home on the 4th, I think. So yeah, it's 2 winnable games there, and then before I know it, it's, you know, everyone's got a bigger smile on their face than what we had a month ago. So
this is true. Callum, just coming to you. We'll go into more depth on Tuesday in terms of transfers, but I really felt the unbalance on that left hand side was a real concern for the majority of that game today. How did you see our left hand side? So I thought, to be fair to him, Spence played really well, and he looked like he, you know, going forward he was trying, but he was losing the ball up. But we are really lacking on that left hand side. How did you see it?
Yeah, I kind of echo what you've said, Gary. To be honest, I don't like having Kolo Muani on the left. I like having him up top. I would rather play Richarlison there if you're going to keep them two on the pitch. But obviously, Odebear came in, didn't have a bad cameo over there on the left-hand side. But I think it's apparent for everyone, even if you're blind or have never watched a game of football, that left-hand side is the main issue. Right,
yeah,
we can live with. Left is the main problem. And it needs to be addressed because they can, one, get us when they're in an attack, but two, we don't offer enough down that side in an attacking sense either. It's all very closed up. And when you've got Nathaniel Klein playing there as right back, I mean, he's been ancient for the last 5 years and we can't be effective against it. It doesn't really inspire confidence, does it?
No, just coming to that right hand side, Travis. I think Mohamed Kudus is an outstanding footballer. I think he's brilliant. However, there is a but. I think we've ran him into the ground, and even despite having 8 days off, he looks knackered. And we're looking a little bit too predictable. That left hand side has to be dealt with in the January transfer window. Do you think?
I'm not surprised he looks knackered. He's carrying a Tottenham team. Let's be honest. Yeah, very very tired. Kudus is absolutely unreal, and I'm not saying that as a biased Tottenham fan. I said when he was at West Ham, he will end up at Real Madrid, PSG. You name it. He could have ended up there, and he would walk into any side. I think we're just so lucky to get him and get him for the money that we paid for him as well. I think he's outstanding. But yeah, this is what happens when you've got the likes of Kudus, who does carry that midfield to an extent, and you haven't got that replacement. I mean, you take off Mohamed Kudus, you bring on Brennan Johnson. Like, let's be honest, like the difference in quality is extreme on another level. Yeah, Kudus, he will take players on. He's strong. He's versatile. He'll score goals. Brennan Johnson, he'll try and put a cross and put it down the corner flag. The difference there is vast. So yeah, for me, I think that right hand side needs to be concentrated on very seriously in the transfer window. I still can't make my mind up whether I prefer Udogie or Jed Spence. I don't really know. I mean, Spence is good. He's no weak player. He puts himself about, and he's strong, and he'll take on a player. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah,
Got to be
there's a
you,
couple of
Doggy, for me.
Doggy. Yeah, fair
Yeah,
enough. So,
course.
Spence
yeah,
ain't a left back.
No.
no, he's not. Would you say he's more of a wing back?
Yeah,
Well,
I think if we played like Glasner does with the three at the back and then the four and then the three, he could play in that wing back position quite well. And similar to like sort of Man United play, that left hand side, he's trying to cut in too much. He's clearly not got a left foot. Well, a left foot that he's comfortable with, but just keep cutting in. And when your left winger is also cutting in, it just gives no balance to the team.
Didn't we try that with Sergio Reguilon as well? Didn't we turn him into a wing back at one point?
But
yeah,
he's left footed, so it helped as well, didn't it?
The problem that we've got, and I mean, this was highlighted by how ineffective Porro was today. To be honest, that he's overrun and he is knackered as well. Realistically, I think that we've got to be honest and say that Spence should be on the right. He should be alternating with Porro, and we just need someone else to come in on the left-hand side, don't we? A left back. It's an experiment that has sort of held up, but that's where I'd say it needs to end, to be honest, because he's not going to be England starting left back. He shouldn't be our starting left back. He should be challenging to be our starting right back, in all honesty, because it would mean that we're not playing inside ourselves, because he still tries to cut in to get on his right hand onto his right foot, which is his stronger foot. So he's always coming on the inside, not on the overlap, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So just before I come to you, Thomas Frank's been speaking to the Tottenham Twitter account. He said, "I'm very happy with the desire, the mentality and the character in the team." I echo those thoughts. Thought that again, he speaks quite well after wins. It's during the week I struggle a little bit sometimes what comes out of his mouth. But just going back to the second half, Palace went close a number of times. We were a little bit lax here and there, but defensively relatively quite solid, going back to sort of similar to the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I think definitely looked a lot tougher to break down at the back. I mean, it always seems that we're always having all our 11 men behind the ball as soon as they the opposition crossed the halfway line. Even Richarlison was coming back as well. And we play, I don't know if you guys find, we play, when we lose a ball, we play very narrow, and our wing backs are very narrow. So they've always got, the opposition of all their wingers are always available. But I honestly think, Thomas Frank is confident that if a ball comes into our box, our players can deal with it 9 times out of 10, because he's happy to let the fullbacks, the wingers, of the opposition have the ball. And yeah, it's Bentancur looks, slowly but surely looks to be getting back to the Bentancur we know, been a bit more consistent, where he was one good game and then 2 or 3 poor games before he had another good game. So yeah, it's nice to see that, teams are struggling against us to break us down, compared to obviously last season when we were getting broken down left, right, and centre, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Callum, someone I really like at Tottenham, but he's not getting a game at all, really. Matisse Tell. What's happened there? Because we spent, 45 million pounds on him?
It's a tough one, isn't it? And I mean, I've got high hopes for Matthias Tell. I think the same for him and Odegaard, because whenever they play for France, they do really well. But something's not quite right there, and we need to know what's going on. And realistically, I still think there's a place for him, but I just think that to go out on loan might be the better option. Get them some game time, get them sort of progressing, because it's a lot of pressure on some youngsters who realistically were bought for one manager and need to sort of play to carry us through a rut when you're 20, 21. And we're asking a lot of them, to be honest, but they're good players and I've got hopes for them at Spurs. I just don't think their time is now at the moment, because Frank doesn't seem to have full faith in either Tell or Odegaard, does he?
No, Travis, do you think it's not having faith or not having time? And I say that because he's clearly under pressure. I'm pretty sure he knows he's under pressure. And is he thinking, I need to be safe rather than taking risks or gambling on youth, essentially?
Good question. I don't really know. I think it's frustrating because the money we spent on Tell is a lot of the money we got for Harry Kane, and Tell was like the next big thing. There's so many people that wanted to sign him. He had such a good, and I know there's a big difference between the Bundesliga and the Premier League, but he had such a good time out in the Bundesliga. He was scoring goals for Bayern Munich. I just think he's young. I mean, how old is Tell? Is he 20, 21? He's only young, isn't he?
20, yeah.
20, yeah. So I think it's going to take time for these players to come through and adapt to the Premier League. The Premier League is probably the most fearful, dominant, aggressive league in the world. And I think for players like Tell, I wouldn't put him out on loan because I don't think that's the right thing to do. But if you're not getting time to play at Tottenham, yeah, I don't know. It's in the wrong position. I don't know. It's a tough one for me, and it's just we buy these players in. I mean, look at I'm a big admirer of that Vuskovic, as Callum knows. Luka Vuskovic is on loan at Hamburg. I think he probably needs to stay out on loan, but from what I've seen, he's had such a good time out in Germany at Hamburg that you think we need this guy back. But then are these players ready? I don't know. It's a tough one, but if Tell does go out on loan, he needs to go out on loan to a proper club. And what I mean by a proper club is a club where he's gonna be able to play to his full potential and then come back and be like this incredible player. And yeah. Don't know. It's a tough one for me.
It definitely is tough. So just coming to you, 60th minute in, we went to 3 defensive midfielders. I must admit, I thought maybe this a bit too early, and in the end, perhaps it's justified because we were unable to get out of our own half up to that point on the second half. We brought those 3 midfielders in and kind of was a bit more difficult to break down. I think, again, he's looking for safeness. rather than that attacking intent that so many Tottenham fans desire. What did you think when those changes were made?
Yeah, I think, are you talking about when Polina come on and stuff like that?
So we went with Polina. We went Polina, Bentancur, and Archie Gray in that middle, didn't we?
Yeah, I think I was watching the game, and the commentators at the time said Polina was actually coming on for Archie Gray, but then Bergvall picked up that slight knock, didn't he? And unfortunately couldn't carry on. So they apparently had a sudden change of plans, obviously, and the substitution was for Bergvall. I think, after last season when with Ange, it was just, one way to play. He wouldn't change the game. He wouldn't make substitutions to change the game. Whereas with Thomas Frank, he'll regularly change formations during the game, make the changes that's needed to counter the opposition substitutions, etc. I did worry it was maybe too early to try and shut up shop, but the more they were pushing more men forward, Palace, and after about 60 minutes, we seemed to have, especially the last 10 minutes, quite a lot. Quite a good few attacks. Obviously, Odegaard hit the post. Richarlison's goal was disallowed again, just slightly ahead of the ball. I honestly expected us to be under an onslaught from there, but I think we coped really well. So, good on Thomas Frank. There were good substitutions in the end.
Yeah, Callum, just coming to you, justified substitutions at that time, because like Si says, we were under pressure. We dealt with that pressure, and then actually we looked like we could have scored. Obviously, we did score with Richarlison. He was offside. Odegaard hit the post. Odegaard hit the post as well, and Brennan Johnson looked relatively bright as well towards the end. But justified subs, because at the time I was like, "What is going on here?"
I think when you look at hindsight, probably justified. When we was sort of looking at that, thinking three defensive midfielders were going to be sitting there for 30 minutes, pretty much shutting up shop, I thought, oh, here we go again. But it nullified Palace quite well. Odegaard coming on had a decent impact. I would have said maybe some of the people coming off could have been potentially reviewed, but ultimately we won the game, and that's the main priority, isn't it? It's that maybe Johnson's put his value up about 5 million from a decent cameo against Palace, and maybe they want to now buy him. Odegaard came in and showed what we are missing on the left-hand side when he does play. I know you'll keep up with the banners. What other names? We've got to review Bergvall, obviously being injured. There we go. But the sort of consistent one in there was Gray. Gray still keeps coming to mind all the way through this, because even when we settled back, he kind of still was shielding the defence, but also still pushed forward. And he had that great run to put it to kudos for Richarlison's second offside goal, didn't he? Even when we did go defensive, he was still there. Paulinho, I'm not his biggest fan, but I thought he was kind of solid. He wasn't great, but he did a job. Bentancur was kind of non-existent in there as well. Oh, I love this. So I'll just keep going. But then it was not a good performance, but we managed it in the second half, didn't we? And then I think by the end of it, Palace ran out of steam. They ran out of ideas. I mean, Nketiah was pretty poor for them. No. Well, no. You've really disappointed
you're not getting Crystal Palace.
Draw the line at the opposition.
I'll draw the outline at the opposition.
Gary, have you got a picture of Levy? You got a picture of Levy?
I deleted my picture of Daniel Levy.
I think what we can realistically say, though, is Palace ran out of steam, and the last 10 to 20 minutes, we were the better team. And I think we probably deserved another goal in there, if we're being quite honest.
Absolutely. I think that they definitely ran out of steam. And Archie Gray, the energy that he brought to that midfield was massive again. And I think if we can find someone that really complements him in that middle in terms of positionally, I'm not too sure Lucas Bergvall is that guy. I think Bergvall's probably better, more forward than him. So positionally, he struggles, I think. But Gray again, another good solid performance.
Got a good engine on him.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable engine on him.
Once they made those substitutions, he was playing as the most advanced midfielder of the three today. And yet the energy he had to get back and get the challenges and then be straight back up there as well. Like Callum said, to play the ball to Kudus for Richarlison's second offside goal. So, yeah, he's got a good energy, a good engine on him. So, yeah, it's I got high hopes. I think we all have.
Yeah, absolutely. Travis, just coming to you, we all agree that I think Palace probably ran out of steam. They are 30 games now into their season. Do you think that's clearly making having a huge impact? And obviously they played Tuesday night, and they went to a penalty shootout, and they don't have the biggest of squads. Do you think that's a fair assessment on Crystal Palace?
Yeah, I'd say so, Gary. Yeah, to be fair, obviously they're playing UEFA Europa Conference League football as well, which obviously they've never played before. So yeah, I think they are quite a tired squad. I think we spoke about Murder, but I just want to say how good Adam Walton is, and I think we all agree some of them crosses today are just wow. Yeah, I really hope we get him because he is an absolute machine in that Palace midfield. I think he originally come from Blackburn, didn't he? Before he went to Palace,
Yeah.
When he was a bit younger, and we should have snapped him up then. But yeah, as you say, Gary, I think they are a tired squad. Obviously, with them playing Europa League football as well, but obviously they will get more used to that the more they play. And rightly so, they should be in I know it's a conference league, but it's still European football, and that's where they should be. They've got a good squad. But yeah, Adam Walton, if he comes to Spurs, I'll be very, very happy. But I think they'll slap 100 million on him at least, if not more. I think there'll be a lot of teams wanting him.
One of those teams is your Football Manager side, isn't it, Callum? You've got Adam Wharton currently with you at Tottenham. I would absolutely love him at Tottenham. I think him and Gray together would be an ideal double pivot. Something I do want to share that's just been sprung up that I've managed to quickly save and throw over onto here is Richarlison being Richarlison. After the game, he has posted this to his his Instagram. Is Capitano, MVP, 2 goals. I don't know what that other says, and 1 assist. And he's now posing with the man of the match trophy.
Is that last word offside for Brazilian?
It might very well be. I'm not too sure what that does say. But fair play to him again.
He is a character.
He is a character, and you need those type of characters, right?
Yeah,
I must agree. I agree with something Travis said earlier. For where we want to go as a club, he wouldn't be a starter. But I would keep him in the squad because I think when he comes off the bench for the last 15 minutes of game, if you're needing a goal like he did against Liverpool, and that he does change the game a little bit. Teams do struggle against him when he comes off the bench. So, either way, if he goes, he goes. But I wouldn't be against him staying and coming off the bench. But I think he's the type of character after a certain period of time, he wouldn't be happy with that.
Yeah, Callum, just on Richarlison, we've obviously given pelters, rightfully so, when he deserves it. But I have to say, the last few games, especially against that Liverpool game, I was there. He's just directly in front of where I sit. I sit on the sort of in the press, just in front of the media section. So they all warm up pretty much in front of me. He was itching to get on that pitch. He made an instant impact again today. Energy to burn. I don't see him really as a backup because when he's fit, he looks a handful. But I don't think he can keep himself in the shape he is at the moment by being a backup.
Yeah, it's a difficult one for Richie because we give him pelters, but we know what he can do. He's not a great player, but he's a useful squad option, I think. But for his career, I don't think he'd want to sit on a bench. But it's just reliability and injury record that always drags him down. And I don't think he's a striker. I still stand by. I think his play is better off the wing, to be honest. But we will, when he is on form, we'll take it. And he is going for a purple patch. I mean, he'll probably get injured in January like he usually does and be out for the next 6 months and then miraculously make a return in the Brazil squad in the summer.
Yeah, it'd probably be very similar to Yves Bissouma that all of a sudden can play for his national side. But that's another conversation to have. Travis, just coming to you before the game. Not sure how much you've seen of it, but there has been a huge outcry on social media for Thomas Frank to not be at the club. They're desperate to, I don't know why I have Ange Postecoglou back, but where are you sat right now after a win on Thomas Frank?
I think you've asked the wrong person that question, to be fair, Gary, because I'm about to go off on one now. I find it absolutely infuriating that it's just painful seeing people calling for Frank's head so early on. You know, are people literally expecting these managers to come in and literally change everything so quickly and get everything and everyone and everything is settled as what they needed? I mean, I just find it so blasé and just so ludicrous and delusional that these people want Frank gone so early on. I know we have had such a frustrating past with managers, with Poch, with Mourinho, with Conte, with Ange, but you got to give these managers time. They need time. You know, I absolutely despise Arsenal. It goes without saying, really. But you got to look at Arteta, and where they were 4 or 5 seasons ago, whatever it was, right? When they were sitting bottom half of the table, they're all on Gunners TV. That idiot that's on that Gunners TV that are ranting and raving, Arteta out, we're not winning, get rid. We're now 3, 4 seasons in, and they're looking like they're going to win the league. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, Arsenal have got a good team. Yeah, that's undeniable. They've got a good team. But when you stick with a manager and you build a foundation around the manager, you don't just go and get a manager and think, okay, we'll get this manager in. It will last 2, 3, 4 months, 6, half a year, whatever it may be, and then we'll just get rid of him. It's a waste of money. These managers need paying out at the end of it, and it's just a complete waste of time. It's just absolutely ludicrous. It really is that. We got a 1-0 win against Palace today. We made bloody hard work of it. 3 points is 3 points, but how much hard work did we make of it? It was absolutely horrendous, to tell you the truth. And as someone's quite rightly said there, we have got a toxic fan base. We really, really have. We all go marching down the Tottenham High Road because we want Daniel Levy out. It's embarrassing. It really is, and yeah, I just find it so frustrating that we live in an era now where we just think, yeah, we'll get a manager in for 6 months, whatever it may be, and then turf them out. Because like I said earlier, we had Ange. He wanted Brennan Johnson. We spent 40 million on Brennan Johnson. What's the guy done? Absolutely nothing apart from winning us the Europa League finals. So what? Whoop-de-doo. Doesn't mean anything. As in a player sense is what I mean by that. You need to build a solid foundation, but to have that foundation, you need the backing from the ball. And as we've said so many times before, the Tottenham ball is absolutely horrendous. Tottenham is a manager's graveyard, and Gary, I could go on till I'm blue in the face, but I get so infuriated that these people go on Twitter, oh, Frank out. It's just. They're not Tottenham fans. They're really not. It's clickbait, and it's uncalled for. It's so infuriating because keep sacking managers, we're never going to get anywhere. And to be honest with you, if we get rid of Frank, who ideally do we get in then? Because Glasner's not going to come, Xavi's not going to come. We've had two of the best managers in the world with Mourinho and Conte. Conte would have been absolutely amazing for us, absolutely spot on, because of the way he deals with players and deals with football in general. If we give Conte the backing, we would be flying now, absolutely flying. We would have won silverware. We'd been, you know, so far up the table, but these managers don't get chances, and I think it is just so easily led by the fan base and what the fans want. But I think the Spurs fan base is just it is absolutely tormenting and quite frankly embarrassing.
No, I agree with you on a large element of that. Callum, we've spoken about this as well privately, that I feel that a large part of it is clickbait, as Travis says, is looking for, I don't know, a like or a retweet or something. But negativity breeds negativity. If you bring negativity in your life, you're gonna end up surrounding yourself with it. And if you're going to consistently build that on X or whatever that might be, you're encouraging that into your life, no matter what, if that's football or other things. Kind of, I know you're not anywhere near a Thomas Frank out or anything, but where do you sit currently after that win? Are you seeing the progression that we need? Because as I said at the top of this show, before this game, we were 1 point worse off than we were last year, and everybody, and not everybody, a large proportion are calling for Ange Postecoglou still to be the manager of the club.
Well, let's put it this way. I'd never go back to kamikaze ball as long as I can find it. We survived 2 seasons of that, and yes, we won something, but it sacrificed everything else in that achievement. Yeah, I will continue to back any manager at our club, because at the end of the day, I've got no one else to back. Simple as that. This is my club. I will back Spurs. Whoever leads Spurs, I will back them. I didn't like Conte. I didn't like Mourinho, but I still got behind them. I didn't like Nuno, but I got behind him. I didn't like Mason. I still got behind him. That's the way that it is. And to be honest, there is a lot more important things in life than just football. Let's put it this way. We've all got families. We've all got partners. Some of us probably have kids as well. Me and Gary have Football Manager, but that's only a game.
That is my kid.
It is your kid. I mean, don't let your little girl hear that, mate. Then definitely you'll probably be on the street by New Year's. But realistically,
some of us like to be Chewbacca.
There is that as well. I am not. You can. Right, you are staying in Basildon. You are not welcome on this podcast anymore. Go away. But realistically, we need to just understand that football is a game. We do not control what the club does. We do not control the aspects of it. Simple as that. And realistically, until people get that into their head and stop overreacting on social media, it's just going to keep going. Everyone goes at us as podcasters. You can't say that. You can't say this. We can say it because it's our opinion. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Simple as that. And at the end of the day, we just do this for fun and all that. Simple as that. Yeah. We all have jobs. That's how it is. Yeah, and people just need to calm down.
We want to bring voices for Tottenham fans. Like I say, whether we agree with them, that's debatable. That's fine. And when I went on yesterday, and I've seen some account. They must have sent. Actually, today, during the first half, I went on. I think there was a break. I think it was an injury. And one account had put something up 17 times in that first half. And it was pretty much all negativity. And I thought to myself, like, come on. And then I'd seen something yesterday that I was telling to Callum. And it was, let me try and find that message I sent you, actually. It was, which made me laugh.
You sent me one earlier, even just about the article.
I sent this to Callum yesterday at 8:00. I saw a post, someone praising Emery, obviously the Aston Villa manager, and the replies were turned into Thomas Frank hate. My point in a nutshell, somebody is talking about a manager or a team that has nothing to do with us, and the replies were turned into Thomas Frank hate. That's kind of where we are. Leading on, and the reason I've asked this question is leading on to this next question is going to be for all of you. But Si, we'll start with you. Who needed that win more, the fan base or Thomas Frank?
I would say the fan base, in my opinion, Gary. I think we needed it. These ones that screaming for Thomas Frank out after 6 months at the club, it's just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Hopefully, these 3 points might quieten them down a little bit. It's a tough place to go. Crystal Palace to come away with 3 points. We just can't keep changing a manager every 2 years. We will not get anywhere. We will be left with players that the previous regime wanted, the new regime wouldn't want. We've all got to get behind a manager, and why not? Thomas Frank has not even had a Daniel Levy-less transfer window yet, if you want, and it's coming in January. There's promises from, or we've heard that they're going to spend a lot of money. Let's just wait and see what they do. It's that old saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. We're not going to be up there challenging for the title as soon as Thomas Frank comes in. He's got to build something. He's got to get the players on board with the way he plays. For me, it seems like these fans, they just always want someone to blame. Always. It was always Daniel Levy. Now he's gone. They need someone else to blame. It's just, yeah, I agree with Travis and that. They're just a waste of space, to be honest. A waste of space. Not even worth following, clicking on anything. It's just ridiculous. Yeah. But I think opposition fans like to dig at us as well, to be fair. You said they won about Emery changing to Thomas Frank out. So I know we seem to be the target of a lot of jokes, quite a lot. But I'd never change this football club. This football club, to me, it's like cigarettes. It should come with a health warning, because supporting Tottenham Hotspur is not good for your health, to be honest. But I wouldn't change it for the world. And for me, I'll back Thomas Frank, and the win. I think Thomas Frank would be safe for the rest of this season, whatever happens, as long we're not right down at the bottom. So yeah, I think the win was more for the fans, really, and hopefully it'll quieten a few of those ridiculous comments. Hopefully.
Callum, just coming to you on that as well. Who needs that win more, the fan base or Thomas Frank?
I think the fan base to massage our egos, to be honest, realistically, because at the end of the day, us as fans aren't going to pay Frank's severance clause, are we? We're not going to pay the club back the 10 million they paid to get him and all his coaching staff. So I think people just need to calm down a little bit and realise that we are still in a rut. We are not playing great, but we are going through a process. And what can Frank do in 4 months? Simple as that. I mean, if we were that happy with Ange, we'd have kept him. Well, we weren't. We wanted rid of Levy. He's gone. We wanted Vinay to come in, and he ain't even had a proper transfer window yet. We wanted Prjctspurs to be leading. He could be walking out. All of this. So, I mean, what else can we target at the club? Are we going to blame them that, I don't know, the New Year's lights don't work in central London or something like that? Because we seem to blame everything else on Spurs, don't we?
Well, you seem to blame a lot of things on the ownership. And as I said, we've not even had a window without Daniel Levy. No. So this is the first one. So let's see the intent from the owners, from Vinay and whoever else is essentially leading that charge in January, and we can best judge then, because there is not a chance that this football club gets rid of Thomas Frank now or at all this season. I honestly feel it would be a PR disaster for them, and I don't think they want that PR disaster. However, just speaking on Thomas Frank, he has had this to say about Archie Gray's performance. I think Archie is growing. He showed why he has a very good potential in many ways. I think it's another fine performance overall today. talking about resilience. He made a mistake in the Nottingham game, played another good game against Liverpool, growing as a young man. He was alert. I love that goal because he was alert. He was seeing where the ball will land, and he was ready to get on it. So again, more praise from the manager for Archie Gray, which I know we all echo, and we've gone over it in that already. Just before we close out, if we get a win against Brentford on New Year's Day, that could see us go up to 7th in the league. And I think we are a top 8 football club at the moment. With the players we've got, the manager, what happened last season, where we finished last season, top 8 was where I expected us to be. So hopefully this is a start of something more for us, and then we can look into January. And as I say, on Tuesday we shall focus some comments on focus on our transfer news. Me and Callum will go through that. Just before we do finish, Callum, is there anything you wanted to add from today's game? If not, where can we find you on social media?
No, I think just like you say, Gary, we are much closer to the top 6 than everyone probably predicted. Looking at the table, it is much closer because other results are going in our favour. So just have some faith. Keep thinking that we've got happy thoughts. We've got a decent run coming up, and we're still in 3 competitions as well. So realistically, we just need to focus on the project. But if anyone wants to find me, you can find me at Callum Stubbs 97, and you can find me at Prjctspurs as well.
No, you got it. Focus on the project. You should have said focus on the Prjctspurs. You missed it. You were on it last week. You've left. I'm mute. You're going on mute now. So hopes for 2026 because
you've muted, guys.
Let's be fair. 2025 was relatively successful for us because of that trophy drought. What is your hopes for 2026?
I'd do anything for another trophy. I'll be happy with that. For last May in Bilbao, that was unbelievable. I'd waited a long time for that, and I was reminded every year because it was the exact same amount of years as my daughter's age. We hadn't won a trophy, so every time her birthday come round in May, I remembered it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years going on all the way, and she's 17 now. So I'm glad I nipped that in the bud. But yeah, a trophy next year, just a bit of growth, anything. If we can end up in the top 8, so I'll be happy with that. Get to the latter stages of the competitions, the cup competitions, and if we can win one, I'd love an FA Cup win. If I'm honest, I remember like the 1987 FA Cup final quite well, the 1991, showing my age a little bit now, but those days, well, the 1991 especially, was just fantastic. So an FA Cup win would be lovely.
Yeah, I echo that. 1991 was kind of where I started the love for Tottenham. I can remember a lot of it. That sort of run, the Gaza free kick in the semi-final, and it was just fantastic. The FA Cup means a lot to so many of us, and I echo that. I'd love a cup run. I'd love an FA Cup run. That'd be fantastic. Travis, just finishing with you. What is your hopes for 2026?
My hopes for 2026. Well, hopefully we can bring a trophy home. That would be nice. And as we all vouch for the FA Cup, that would be wonderful. Obviously, Spurs being the cup team that they are. I hope we get to keep hold of Thomas Frank. Callum, don't shoot me. But I do hope we get to keep hold of Thomas Frank. I just hope that the season obviously gets a lot better for us. I hope that we can get some decent names in the transfer window, I just hope we can finish the season on a high, and get Champions League football again next season. Europa, I'd be happy with. Yeah, and hopefully, if Arsenal don't win anything, Arteta to be sacked, that would literally be the cherry on the icing for me. That would be wonderful. Yeah, couldn't happen to a nicer man. Um, but yeah, obviously, and I've said in the GC and other pods to just that hope everyone's family stays well and healthy. I'm a big advocate for that, and people have a good time and have the people around them that matter to them most. Because that's a big thing for me personally at the moment. So yeah, hope you all have a great new year. Anyone that's listening, really do, because family means more than anything in the world.
Absolutely echo those thoughts. I know Si and Callum do as well. And everybody out there, I hope you have a fantastic new year. We'll be back on Tuesday, me and Callum, with some transfer updates. If anything major happens, we'll try and come to you sooner. But please do follow us.
Left winger.
Yeah. Yes, hopefully there's a left winger coming in and early. Let's hope that. But echo the thoughts from everybody here. Please do give us all a follow on social media and hit the like and subscribe. I hate asking for likes and subscribes. If you want to like it, great. If you want to subscribe, great. If you don't want to, it's absolutely fine. But if you do want to be on the show, everybody's welcome. Please drop us a direct message or email the email address that is scrolling along the screen now. As I said at the top of the show, it is a Christmas miracle. Tottenham win away, and we finish a relatively successful 2025 on top. So from me and the lads, and for everybody Tottenham fans, have a great new year.
Oh, the streets are cold and grey, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs